everyone, and welcome to another exciting edition of Parade's Concierge Desk. Today, I'm very excited to be joined by the lovely Laura Fursdon, who is founder of Calder Co. Like Parade, Calder Co is a founder-led business, and it's been developed by Laura and built on her 18 years of experience in the luxury concierge sector. Laura's background includes leading the private concierge team and heading corporate servicing at Quintessentially, which is a business that we both know very well, and at the time was the global leader in concierge services. Laura then went on to work in the world of private aviation before founding Calder Co, and she brings a deep understanding of the unique needs and aspirations of ultra-high net worth clients, supported by an extensive black book of contacts, which has been developed over nearly 2 decades in the industry. So, Laura, thank you so much for joining us. Very happy to have you here, and wanted to kick off just by asking you to tell us a little bit about yourself and Calder Co.
Yes, well, thank you very much for that kind introduction. I think that covers off my professional experience nicely. So my office is based in Fulham. We're off the King's Road, and I work here daily with my team when we're not traveling. One of the girls actually is about to head off on a work trip to Vietnam. I've got another one at a breakfast with a member in central London. But we're based here. We're a private concierge with a specialism in luxury travel. So I set up Calder Co in 2021. So just after the pandemic, when we were all rediscovering the freedom of travel, finding ways to reconnect with each other. And it was all about making up for lost time and really just living life to the full through incredible experiences. So I noticed that the concierge of an ultra high net worth individual was not necessarily also their travel expert. And I wanted to combine my experience in both to create a membership that was really valuable to members navigating the new challenges of post-COVID travel. And also at the same time, use my experience working with luxury brands to be able to help them engage with their most valued customers. So we offer private memberships to ultra high net worth individuals and family offices, and we offer bespoke membership programs to luxury brands in the travel world. So notably private aviation, super yacht, automotive industries. We're just exciting to launch a new partnership with a global private aviation leader, air partner. So looking after their top frequent flyers.
Fantastic! Wow, what a brilliant portfolio you have, and you know, working at that level, as we do very often. I know experience for us and for our clients is a really important phrase. So for your business in particular, I was interested how you interpret that kind of the phrase that we refer to as guest experience. How do you interpret that for your business?
Yeah, so we're a concierge, as I said, who organise once in a lifetime trips and experiences for ultra high net worth members. So member experience within that is obviously incredibly important for us. It really starts actually from the onboarding of the member. So that's an opportunity for the Calder team to really learn about the member and create a first positive experience from them. And then all interactions with the team from there. So based on that knowledge, every conversation is aimed at inspiring them, supporting them, helping to excite them to use the membership. And then with the travel that we arrange, we're thinking about how we can create memories, how we can help them unwind. Actually, most recently, some of the trips can even be really quite transformative and help them change their perspective of the world. So it's all about that understanding. And I think we prioritize every single touch point. So from onboarding calls to check-in meetings and kind of every interaction between, that member journey for us is the guest experience.
So the member experience obviously starts from that first interaction. So how do you gather the intelligence about those members in order to be able to tailor the experience to them?
Yeah, good question, because obviously our members are time poor. So we've got to encourage them to have this onboarding phone call or meeting. We'll try and meet as many members as we possibly can initially, but if not, it's a phone call. And it's a conversation, really just trying to encourage them to talk about their families, perhaps their passions or plans for the year ahead, trips that maybe have been on their bucket list but they've not got round to organising. And it's just a very sort of gentle conversation between the team and them to try and encourage them to place a request while we explain about how we can add value to their lives.
And how do you I guess finding that ability to gather that intelligence from that call is down to the skill of the person that's on the call. And how does your team handle that? How do you give them the tools by which to gather that, or are they people who've already got experience and they know how to do it? How do you approach that as a business, and how do they approach that as individuals?
Yeah, I think emotional intelligence is a huge part of a skill that you need to possess to be good at in this role. And so that, as well as part of their training
Yeah.
and ongoing training, allows them to have the confidence to have these phone calls. So when dealing with ultra high net worth individuals, obviously they're incredibly well traveled. They expect quick responses, but as we've said, they haven't got much time. And so it's our role to be ahead of the curve of their needs, on top of new openings or relevant newsworthy topics, and yeah, be prepared to answer their questions. So it's definitely an ongoing kind of learning and training within the role to be able to do that. But we do it as a team.
Yeah, and isn't it like, listen, I find that every project that we work on, we get to know the clients to a degree, and we always see our role as, or rather, we see the luxury that we have in our role as being able to take the time to understand the clients and to understand what their needs are, and for all of the team to be able to kind of gather that and to really get to know them and be one step ahead of what what their needs are. And I guess you have that on a kind of macro scale because you're working with them on a really long-term basis.
Exactly.
So Calder Co is a post-COVID business. You were obviously with quintessentially pre-COVID, long time pre-COVID. How do you think that kind of experience element, and I'm talking now about kind of the member experience rather than the experience that the customer has when they're on a trip, but how do you think that member experience has grown in importance over the past 5 years, kind of post-COVID versus pre-COVID?
Yeah. So, I mean, we all know that the pandemic triggered a big change in the way that we wanted to live our lives. From the way that we travel and experience the world, but also just in our day to day. So it was interesting us launching the business at that time, because I think we had, we needed to remodel the way that our members needed to be looked after, and especially as there were so many challenges post-COVID with the way that people were traveling. So we needed to be prepared for that. But aside from the pandemic, I think that concierge and travel has changed drastically in my time in the industry since I started in the sort of early 2000s. And it's definitely changed from the kind of flashy external experience of luxuries, so wanting to be seen, into something that's far more of an internal experience of luxury.
Yeah.
And underpinned more by well-being, privacy, and discretion. And actually, what I've come to learn is from some of the wealthiest clients that we look after, they are the ones seeking the most authentic local experiences. So going off grid with no technology and having the opportunity to reconnect with their children is something that we're seeing more of. In fact, one of our wealthiest customers the other day asked us, and they stay in the top hotels around the world usually, but asked us for a camping trip with the family. And probably a bit different from maybe our experience of camping. It's still definitely with a luxury mindset, but seeking those kind of experiences. So yes, I think experience has changed for us in that clients are looking for a more subtle, kind of softer forms of luxury. And as a business, we need to develop our services and the way we look after those members, I think, to anticipate those needs. Because I think that comes from us and the way we speak to them as well and understand their needs, as well as the experiences that they're expecting us to organise.
That's really interesting that you say that you, particularly in the ultra high net worth segment, that there's that kind of change in behavior. I remember from back in the day that there was always talk of the kind of the traveling billionaire circus of all the places that ultra high net worth segment needed to be at particular times of
Yes.
year.
Yeah.
Do you think that's shifted now? So that top tier no longer kind of travel in the same way?
Don't get me wrong, it still exists,
No.
but very much less than it used to, I think. So it's still there. Saint-Tropez will always be popular in the summer. But I think with changing sort of climate as well, and members just seeking more downtime, I think. We're looking at booking things more in the shoulder season or going to destinations that you wouldn't traditionally go to in the summer and in the winter and vice versa. And it definitely keeps us on our toes, because I think you never quite know, what's next and what to expect. But I think that's the amazing thing about travel, actually, is finding unique experiences that suit an individual member rather than just sending everyone on the same journey.
And that's that's really interesting, that kind of an individual understanding. And I guess my next question was around AI, and in the world of AI, why you think clients are still coming to you as a human driven service rather than asking their assistant to ask ChatGPT or other AI platforms are available to come up with some solutions. What is the reason for that, do you think?
Yeah. We actually get an overwhelming amount of feedback from clients to say that they really want to speak to somebody that's empathetic, that's knowledgeable, a human being, and not a call center, and definitely not a robot. I think they want to build relationships with a team who also love the experiences that they enjoy and that have traveled and that can truly understand their preferences and advise them on what's a right fit from personal experience. So actually, just an example, this week we had a member who stays in a well-known 5-star hotel group. But she said, I love that hotel in that country, but I hate the one in the other country. And she was like, do you know what I mean? And we're like, yes, we do, because we've been to both hotels and I totally understand the difference and know what you mean. So from our perspective, definitely, I think with ultra high net worth clients in particular, that Calder attracts, they're looking for individual personal touch. And we're hearing that more and more, actually, as AI develops. We're hearing that they're appreciating having us at the end of a phone more than ever, which is great.
And do you use AI in your kind of day-to-day life, or well, in your day-to-day business life?
I don't really, if I'm honest. I've tried it to see whether it can support us and whether it can speed up our process. But I think we're quite confident and happy with being a bit old school. So behind the scenes, our systems are quite slick. So, but from a member facing perspective, we're old school.
Yeah, and that emotional intelligence is still not able to be replicated, I think.
Exactly.
So with an eye to the future, And you've already said, that that ultra high net worth segment is looking for something slightly different in the experiences that you are booking for them. And you also said that you get a lot of really positive feedback about the experience that they have with you.
Mm.
How do you see the future of that kind of experience piece for Calder Co?
So it's always going to remain the heart of our business. Our plan is to remain boutique and consistently deliver high level of personalization. We don't want to be a huge company with a large number of members that we're not speaking to regularly. And I've definitely noticed a change in the mentality around membership businesses, and I don't think anymore you can get away with high renewals and low engagement. So every penny matters, even to the clients that we look after. And so for us, the focus is very much on making sure our members are using the service, loving it, and recommending it because of the experience they have.
Amazing. Laura, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. It's been great chatting as always, and I know we'll speak again very soon.
Likewise, thank you for having me.